Here is something the mainstream fat loss conversation almost never addresses. Every diet, every workout plan, every calorie tracking app focuses entirely on what you do during the day and completely ignores what happens to your metabolism during the 8 hours you spend unconscious. That gap in the conversation is not a small oversight. It is the reason so many people do everything right. They eat well, they move enough, they track their food, and still wake up every morning with the same stubborn belly fat that was there the night before. The problem is not what they are doing during the day. The problem is what is happening, or more accurately, what is not happening, during the night. And today we are going to cover 3 specific bedtime habits, in the exact order your metabolism needs them, that determine whether your body spends the next 8 hours burning fat or storing it. The third one is the most overlooked piece of the entire metabolism conversation, and most people have never heard it framed this way. Before we get into the habits, you need to understand one foundational concept, because everything else in this video builds on it. Your metabolism does not run one continuous shift. It runs 2 completely separate shifts, a daytime shift and a nighttime shift, and they have entirely different jobs. During the day, your body is built to eat, move, and burn energy from the food you consume. But when night arrives and you fall into deep sleep, your metabolism is designed to shift into something very different. A repair and recovery mode that, when it works correctly, is one of the most powerful fat-burning windows your body ever enters. During deep sleep, specifically what researchers call slow-wave or delta-wave sleep, 4 critical processes are supposed to switch on simultaneously. First, your body releases a surge of growth hormone, one of the most potent fat-burning hormones the human body produces. Second, cellular repair enzymes activate and autophagy kicks in, the process by which your body breaks down and clears out damaged cells and cellular components. Third, cortisol, your primary stress hormone, is supposed to drop to its lowest point of the entire day. And fourth, insulin levels fall to their baseline, allowing stored fat to be used as fuel. Growth hormone deserves particular attention here because most people do not realize how central it is to fat loss. Roughly 70% of the total growth hormone your body releases in any given 24-hour period is released during sleep, specifically during the first half of the night, in that deep slow wave state that is supposed to begin shortly after you fall asleep. And researchers have found something very direct about this. The size of that growth hormone pulse is directly proportional to how much deep sleep you get. More deep sleep means a larger fat-burning pulse. Less deep sleep means a smaller one. But this entire system has one non-negotiable requirement. Growth hormone cannot be released, and fat cannot be burned if insulin is elevated. Insulin's primary biological job is to signal the body to store energy. It and growth hormone cannot operate at the same time. They are opposites. So if you go to bed with elevated insulin levels, which, as we are about to cover, happens more easily and more commonly than most people realize, your body will spend the night in fat storage mode instead of fat burning mode, regardless of how clean you ate during the day. The first habit is to stop eating 3 hours before bed. This is the foundation. And while it sounds almost insultingly simple, the research behind it is some of the most compelling in the sleep metabolism field. When you eat close to bedtime, your blood sugar rises and insulin follows. Insulin can remain elevated for 3 to 5 hours after a meal depending on what and how much you ate. This means that if you eat dinner at 9 p.m. and fall asleep at 11 p.m., your body enters its critical deep sleep window, the window where growth hormone is supposed to surge, while still in an elevated insulin state. The fat-burning mechanism is locked out before it ever has a chance to begin. Researchers examined this directly in a randomized crossover trial, where the same healthy participants ate dinner at 6 p.m. on one occasion and at 10 p.m. on another. The meals were identical in every way. Same foods, same calories, same macronutrients. The only variable was the clock. The results were unambiguous. The late dinner produced a significantly higher overnight blood sugar response, meaningfully reduced fat burning during sleep, and elevated cortisol levels overnight compared to the early dinner. Same food, same people, and the only difference was timing. That timing alone determined whether the body spent the night burning fat or storing it. There are 3 symptoms that frequently indicate your blood sugar and insulin are unstable overnight. Waking up between 2 and 4 in the morning is one of the most consistent signs, because this timing corresponds to blood sugar fluctuations that disrupt the later stages of sleep. Craving sugar or carbohydrates late at night is another, since this is often the body signaling that blood sugar has dropped and is looking for quick fuel. And waking up genuinely tired after a full night in bed, not groggy but truly unrefreshed, is a third indicator that the body never reached the deep restorative sleep it needed. None of these are signs of a broken metabolism or inevitable aging. They are frequently signs of a timing problem that a single habit change can address. The practical application is straightforward. Pick your bedtime and count back 3 hours. That is your kitchen close time. Dinner, dessert, snacks, everything stops at that point. This one change, applied consistently, gives insulin time to clear before your critical growth hormone window opens. The second habit is to build a deep sleep environment that protects your growth hormone window. Once you have addressed the insulin problem, the next job is to protect the quality of deep sleep itself. Because deep sleep is not just rest, it is the active fat-burning window, and anything that degrades it directly reduces overnight fat loss. The evidence here is striking. A randomized controlled trial from researchers at the Mayo Clinic had healthy adults restrict their sleep to approximately 4 hours per night for just 2 weeks. Before and after body composition was measured with CT scanning, the results showed that the sleep-restricted group gained 9% more belly fat and 11% more visceral fat, the dangerous deep abdominal fat that surrounds the organs, compared to the control group. Their total body weight increased by only about 1 pound, meaning a standard scale would have shown almost nothing. But the CT scan told a completely different story. Fat was accumulating in the most metabolically dangerous location in the body, driven entirely by sleep loss and not diet. The scale lied because it could not see where the fat was moving. Deep sleep is not optional for fat loss. It is one of the primary mechanisms through which fat loss actually happens. 4 environmental factors reliably destroy deep sleep quality, and therefore directly suppress overnight fat burning. Blue light from screens, phones, tablets, and televisions suppresses melatonin and delays the brain's transition into deep sleep. A bedroom that is too warm prevents the core body temperature drop that is biologically required to enter slow-wave sleep. And research consistently identifies 65 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit as the temperature range that best supports deep restorative sleep. Irregular sleep and wake times disrupt the circadian rhythm that regulates hormonal timing, including the timing of the growth hormone pulse. And high mental stimulation close to bedtime, such as checking email, scrolling news, or engaging with anything cognitively activating, keeps the nervous system in a state of arousal that delays and reduces deep sleep. The protocol for building a deep sleep environment is specific. Make the bedroom as dark as possible using blackout curtains or a sleep mask. Set the thermostat between 65 and 68 degrees Fahrenheit. Stop screen use at least 30 minutes before bed, with 60 minutes being meaningfully better. And establish a consistent sleep and wake time, including on weekends, because the hormonal rhythm that governs the growth hormone pulse depends on timing regularity to function correctly. The third habit is to give your nervous system the raw materials it needs to relax. This is the habit most people have never considered, and it addresses a gap that the first 2 habits alone cannot close. Many people apply habit 1 and habit 2 consistently and still cannot reach deep sleep. They lie awake, their mind races, they feel physically tired but mentally wired. This is not a discipline problem, it is a chemistry problem. Relaxation is not passive. It is not something that happens automatically when you lie down. It is an active biological process that requires your nervous system to shift from sympathetic activation, the stress and alertness state, into parasympathetic rest, which is the recovery and repair state. And to make that shift, your body needs specific raw materials. When those raw materials are depleted or insufficient, you lie there exhausted but unable to descend into the deep sleep your body needs. Several compounds have meaningful research behind them for supporting this transition. Magnesium, specifically in the glycinate form, which is better absorbed and gentler on digestion than other forms, is arguably the most important. Over half of adults in developed countries are estimated to be deficient in magnesium, and it is involved in more than 300 biochemical reactions, including insulin sensitivity, cortisol regulation, and nervous system relaxation. A double-blind placebo-controlled trial found that magnesium supplementation in older adults produced measurably more slow-wave deep sleep, increased melatonin, and decreased cortisol overnight. This matters specifically for visceral fat because visceral fat tissue has 2 to 3 times the cortisol receptor density of other fat tissues in the body, meaning chronically elevated nighttime cortisol specifically targets and drives abdominal fat accumulation. Magnesium glycinate taken 30 to 60 minutes before bed, at a dose typically between 200 and 400 milligrams, is one of the most evidence-supported sleep supplements available. Glycine, an amino acid, has particularly compelling research behind it for sleep quality. In randomized double-blind placebo-controlled human trials, 3 grams of glycine taken before bed helped participants fall asleep faster, reach deep sleep faster, and wake up feeling more refreshed. The mechanism is interesting. Glycine promotes sleep in part by facilitating the drop in core body temperature that the body needs to enter slow-wave sleep, and it does this by increasing blood flow to the extremities, which allows the body to shed heat more efficiently. It is doing on the inside precisely what a cool, dark bedroom does on the outside.
Theanine, an amino acid found naturally in tea leaves, creates what researchers describe as relaxed alertness. It reduces resting anxiety and quiets mental activity without sedation, making it easier to fall asleep naturally rather than forcing it. It works primarily through its effects on alpha brainwaves and GABA activity. GABA itself is the brain's primary inhibitory neurotransmitter, the neurological brake pedal that tells the nervous system to slow down. Supplemental GABA has shown benefits for sleep latency and sleep quality in human trials. Taurine supports GABA function and helps calm an overactive nervous system, making it a useful supporting ingredient for people whose minds race at bedtime.
Myo-inositol, at around 2 grams, specifically supports insulin signaling and blood sugar stability overnight, connecting directly back to habit 1. It helps keep nighttime blood sugar more stable and insulin calmer during the sleep window, which supports the fat-burning environment that habit 1 was designed to create. These ingredients can be sourced individually, since magnesium glycinate, glycine, and L-theanine are all widely available as standalone supplements at most pharmacies and health stores, and taken together 30 to 60 minutes before bed. If sourcing them separately feels complicated, a number of combination sleep support supplements on the market include several of these compounds together, though it is worth reading labels carefully for dosage accuracy and avoiding products with unnecessary fillers or underdosed ingredients. 3 habits in the order your metabolism needs them. Habit 1 addresses the hormonal gatekeeper, which is insulin. Stop eating at least 3 hours before bed so that insulin clears before your growth hormone window opens. Habit 2 protects the window itself through deep sleep. Use a dark bedroom, cool temperature between 65 and 68 degrees, no screens for at least 30 minutes before bed, and a consistent sleep schedule every day of the week. Habit 3 provides the chemistry that makes deep sleep actually happen through magnesium glycinate, glycine, L-theanine, and supporting compounds taken before bed to shift the nervous system into parasympathetic rest mode. These 3 habits work through connected mechanisms. You cannot skip habit 1 and expect habits 2 and 3 to compensate, because elevated insulin will suppress growth hormone regardless of how good your sleep environment is. You cannot skip habit 2 and expect supplementation to do the heavy lifting, because no supplement overcomes blue light exposure, a warm bedroom, and irregular sleep timing. And you cannot skip habit 3 if your nervous system chemistry is depleted, because sleep environment alone will not reliably produce deep sleep in people who are magnesium deficient or chronically overstimulated before bed. Consistency across all 3 habits, applied for 30 consecutive nights, gives your body enough time to reset the hormonal patterns that determine whether your metabolism works for or against you while you sleep. Most people who apply all 3 notice changes in sleep quality within the first week, including less middle-of-the-night waking, lower morning cravings, and more genuine energy on waking. Changes in body composition follow over weeks as the cumulative effect of nightly growth hormone pulses, restored insulin sensitivity, and reduced overnight cortisol begins to show up where it counts. Fat loss is not only about what you burn in the gym, it is substantially about what your body does during the 8 hours when no one is watching. Fix the night, and you fix a significant portion of the metabolic equation that most diet and exercise advice never touches.